Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice and to My Choice Tuesday. Today is not going to be a first-time reaction. Instead, I'm hoping that you'll enjoy sharing with me in just being amazed by tenor Luciano Pavarotti singing Nessun Dorma. Many of you know that I love opera. I studied and I performed it for over a decade internationally. And often in my dressing room before I would go on stage, I would listen to Nessun Dorma because it is just so dang inspiring. So I wanted to take today to look at Luciano's performance in 1994 with the three tenors. I wanted to take a look at his solo of Nessun Dorma and talk a little bit about what makes it so dang awesome. Let's get to it. I'm going to cut in right before Pav actually starts to sing. By the way, Pav is a shortened nickname for Pavarotti that many singers use when referring to him. And I want to tell you a little bit about the setting of this. This is from the opera Turandot. It's by Puccini. It was actually the last opera that Puccini wrote, and he even died before totally completing it. He'd written sketches for the very end, but hadn't completely finished it before he died. And sometimes the opera is pronounced Turandot rather than Turandot. That ending T, it has good arguments for both sides. I'm going to say Turandot because that's the way that I've learned, and that has a lot of scholarly backing as well. So Turandot has a lot of really fantastic Asian music themes in it. It's a very fascinating opera. Doesn't always portray Asian culture in a nice way. So I just wanted to shout out. I recognize that, and I definitely think that it's something that needs to be addressed. And in this opera, at this point, Pavarotti is playing the prince, who's trying to hide his name. He's trying to essentially wed the princess Turandot, and if she can find out what his name is before dawn, then I believe not only does she not have to marry him, but I believe he will be killed. So high stakes here. And there are people going throughout the city asking people what his name is. And there are only two people that know his name, and that is trying to be very hidden at this point. One of them ends up dying later so that the name's not revealed. I know, very dramatic opera. Anyhow, Nessun Dorma means that no one is sleeping. And that's because the princess ordered that no one be allowed to sleep tonight so that they can find out what the name of Pavarotti's character is. So let's check out this beginning. Oh, just wanted to point out there's like a little tremolo that's happening in the strings, which I think is the feeling of tenseness in the city. And you hear a chorus singing Nessun Dorma as well. I love this transition into the aria proper. Immediately, one of the most amazing things about Pav's voice, like, it shakes me every time I hear it. It's really this timbre and this shimmer on his voice. Essentially, it is so well produced, and it has this amazing ping, this resonance that it's like it almost sounds like his face is gonna vibrate off with the sound of his voice. If you put his voice inside of a spectrogram, which essentially visualizes different sound waves, you'll see that the fundamental, so the root note that he's singing, is not as vibrant often as the second or third harmonic. So that's sort of a way to visualize how much additional reinforcing resonance is just kept inside of his vocal tract. And it's what makes it feel so bright. Every now and then he also sings slightly sharp on a note, like just slightly. It makes it sound like it has more longing. And I love that kind of expression. In addition, when he starts, you can hear him hook into his support system. You'll notice that on the face, there isn't a lot of tension. It's just wide and it's open, and the throat is it's really nice and open as well. Really good placement. And instead, he's using his body to create this sound that is almost more like a cry that is sustained over time. I'm going to go back to his entrance here. Listen for all those things, especially listen to see if you can hear the shimmer of having those really, really bright overtones. Back one more. Those two last vowels, those ah vowels, that is another reason, and one of the reasons I often feel very inspired by Pavarotti. It is how bright and pure those ah vowels are. His Italian is just incredible. Definitely the person that I'll often listen to for Italian inspiration. Also, Mirella Freni. I really love her Italian, of course. So the way that those vowels, the tongue is really high. A lot of times Americans have these ah kind of like a lower ah vowel that's maybe closer to AW, but in Italian, the ah is really high. In German, the ah is high as well. And that ah vowel, the way that the tongue placement is, if you have Pavarotti-like placement, you'll get those extra bright, shimmery harmonics on the voice. And so that was always one of the more difficult vowels, I think, to keep in line. E vowels have always been my favorite. And then I have to essentially angle my ah vowels to be a little bit closer to my E vowels, which means that the middle of the tongue raises more. And his ah vowels are the golden goal. That's the ah vowel that I want to have. I feel like that is the ah vowel for every single opera singer to aspire to. It's gorgeous. Okay, just a little moment of ah vowels here at the end. I love the phrasing of this. The way that he is so clearly attached to his body for support. It's not happening here. It is, very much in the body. I feel like he's just being a conduit of message and expression. He doesn't need to plaster it all across his face or something. He doesn't have to overact it because you just hear it pouring out in his voice. And I feel like a person can't help but be moved. It's ironic because this aria, to me, it's essentially about how he is going to win. He is going to win the princess. And yes, the guards might be going through this entire village at night. No one is allowed to sleep for fear of death, but he is going to win. And I think that it's interesting. It's a victory aria, and it talks about how beautiful she is, but how he's going to keep his secret and nobody's going to know his name. And so I think there's some longing for the princess in this, but I think that the musical line and the way Pav sings it is like even more beautiful than the lyrics are. It's just incredible. Like this song, it could be, I mean, Pav could sing about peanut butter on pickles and he would make me love and delight in it. So anyhow, it's super, super gorgeous. And I wanted to go back a little bit and look at this spot where he does something like he adds a little more cover. You can hear the sound almost get a little bit hooty at one point in this really beautiful operatic expressive way. Right there. So he puts a little cover on. It's almost like a feeling of having like a little cotton in front of the face. It just has to do with where you're placing the vibrations. And right there you hear the shimmer, that like really bright shimmer that's often on his voice. You hear it go away for a bit. And then he moves it forward towards the end. He's playing with the resonance. And by the way, splendero, I believe is the name, or splendera, which is essentially it will shine. He's talking about the daylight will shine, essentially. It'll be dawn and nobody will know his name and he'll win. We're going to go over this one word that's sung, splendera, over and over, because I love the crescendo. I love the vibrato fluctuation in it. I love this portamento. So that's where it slides down. It's like almost like a bubbling over of emotion that happens at that point. And I even love the way he essentially does a hard offset at the end. He goes, oh, and then cuts it off at the end. And I believe that is like the moment of like, yes, I will be victorious. It is determined. And then there's also the way he accents the rhythm within it. So the way the music slows down and then he has a portamento that kind of expands the time. And then the D and the flipped R suddenly add a bunch of rhythm in there that's like, haha, I'm still victorious. The night might stretch on, but it will arrive and I will be victorious. Okay. One more time. So good. This hushed tone is so beautiful and grabbing, and the way he began that phrase as well, or the phrase before it, it just sounded like it was taken from inside of his gut, like it was being like drawn forth from his soul, just like almost like pulled out of the entire being. I love that connection into the sound. Let's go back a little bit. This hover shimmer is so gorgeous, and the way he adds the air there and the contrast of it before with this phrase that had essentially more compression and more a more powerful sound is really impressive. By the way, Pavarotti did not always have great technique. This wasn't natural. Sure, there's some natural talent and genetics. They're going to be at play in a voice, but he struggled with nodules. He quit singing at one point. And, I think it was in his early 20s. He quit and then took some time off and came back to it stronger. So I just want to put out there, I know some people get discouraged singing, but just look at Pav and know that he's in a wonderful success story, and he struggled through all the things that many of other people have struggled through as well. So, okay, we're going to go back to this moment one more time. Listen to this line, the way it almost sounds like he's just weeping the whole time. Listen to the continuity of the vibrato and listen to the change in the two different timbres. I love that ending. It's liquid gold. Okay, I'm gonna pause. This is like one of the best moments coming up, but I just have to tell you, the choir in the background, a little translation of what they're saying, basically saying, and no one's going to discover his name, and no one, and we will have to die, essentially. So they're saying, they're not going to reveal the name, but if nobody reveals the name, the princess is going to kill somebody, which she eventually does later. Spoiler. You should all go listen to this opera. It's so gorgeous. Just song after song is really, really gorgeous. I believe this one is the best, but this opera is full of amazing arias. Aria, by the way, an aria is a song in an opera, like a solo song. You would have like a duet, which is two people. Aria would be the solo version of it. So anyhow, the choir at that point is essentially the townspeople that are not allowed to sleep right now. Again, that tittle, that part, I love the conviction in those consonants. I love the way that he goes a little sharp sometimes. Often he'll go a little sharp just to give it a little more energy and a little more of this enthusiasm and a determination. Some singers think, oh, I need to be perfect at pitch. But a friend of mine once recently put it, being perfectly tuned does not mean that you're perfect. I would much rather have somebody who isn't perfectly tuned all the time and can go a little sharp on the pitch to express that excitement the way he does right here. It's gorgeous. I'll show the exact moment when it just boils over in my heart. There. Right there, that phrase, the repeated notes there goes just a little bit sharp. And I guarantee you that when he first goes up to that top note, oh my goodness, those harmonics, the ones that are above the fundamental, the ones that are like really ringing at about an octave and then a fifth above there, those are so present. You hear that bright shimmer, it just shakes me every time. It makes my eyes water. I love it. love the look in his eyes right now. Like that look of determination. I am conquering. It's amazing that you can pour that much expression into less than 3 minutes. Definitely. He does this thing as he goes up to the top note. It's called hooking. So he'll actually hook into a lower note and then go higher. It is intentionally taking weight and quality from a lower note and bringing it higher so you get more power. You have to be careful when you do that. Often taking up too much weight can really can disturb tuning. It can disturb the quality of the voice if a person doesn't essentially adjust a few additional things. He hooks into that lower sound as a way of keeping that quality, and it's like almost like a push where it hooks into lower support as well to help carry this incredibly powerful sound in the right way. And I think it just makes me melt. I think it makes everyone melt. So this is an actual technique. It's called hooking, and it's very common for tenors to do this for like big grand moments like this, especially in Puccini. It's stylistically 100% correct. And yeah, okay, we're gonna go back and listen to that again. Let's listen to the whole build up. Here. Okay, check out his tongue. Check out his tongue. I know. I guess you're like, what? Really? Seriously, the tongue? But look at this tongue. The tongue, it doesn't have a divot in it. It's high, it's arched in the mouth. This is great tongue position for opera. I know. Really, can we geek out about this anymore? I love being able to see this camera view where you can see that tongue position. You saw him drop for the top. So that means that his jaw dropped when he went up to a high note. One of the common mistakes for high notes is that people will clench because they're scared of it. He drops it. He is fearless. He's incredibly generous with his sound here. I love that. And even inside, there's more room there. And he has what's called sometimes the sense of an inner smile. So it's not necessarily right here. If you pull too much on the cheeks for opera, it tends to lose some of the roundness, some of the dominess that we really like. But there's like an inner smile that's behind, like kind of back by his molars almost. That's keeping that soft palate up, giving it extra dome, extra ringiness as well. Let's go back and listen to this again. Often lower notes will have a mouth that's more like this, a little bit more closed. I love the cutoff as well. Like, it's so victorious and makes sense because vincero means I will win. I am going to win. Okay, we're going to go back to this choir moment again. And watch right when he starts in here. Oh yeah, it's interesting. He does nose breaths. Some people like nose breaths for singing, some people don't. Often if people breathe in through their nose, they might not drop the soft palate, or you have to drop the soft palate to breathe in through your nose, and it might not raise back again when you start singing. It is important to have control of that soft palate and be aware of it. So he likes the breath through the nose. One of the great things it can do is actually slow the breathing down a little bit. So that way it drops down to a lower point of support. I personally will often do like a whistle breath in, kind of to the side of a microphone if it needs to be done that way. But nose breaths in are a similar way of controlling and slowing down that air in so that it stays really low and centered. every single time. It's like, I don't know what it is, but my goodness, those tears just, they fill my eyes. It's like tears of joy with how amazing this aria and Pav are together. That victorious ending is gorgeous. He actually, Aurora, I guess, reminds me of him, or he reminded me a bit of Aurora. The way at the end, he almost seems like he's realizes that everyone is around him. He's like being drawn out of the place where he was and singing that message. And then you hear this huge brass and orchestra ending that Puccini has written, and it's just purely glorious. What an amazing aria, and what an amazing, amazing singer. So, thank you very much for going with me through this reaction analysis, really truly just analysis of why Pavarotti is so incredible. If you guys want to hear more analysis or takes on why opera arias or specific singers are super incredible, please post those recommendations down below, or just recommend another singer or band you'd really love for me to listen to in the YouTube comments. You can find me here every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Arizona time. If you want to learn how to sing, it can be any style. I love opera. I love all styles though, and I love singing. If you want to learn more about how to sing or learn more about how to appreciate music, check out my courses at thecharismaticvoice.com. Or if you just want to play video games together or get to know each other better, check out our Patreon. It's awesome. Thank you.